where you struggled the most was how much do I give them and how many refills. Refills weren't so much a problem about quantity. Even though in a rescue inhaler there is usually 200 inhalations, I would personally give them a refill for every month. Even if there's 200 and we only expect them to use it 3 or 4 times a month, if they're well controlled, you still need to give it to where they've got a new one, that they can get a new one every month. Now they may not get it, they may use one for 3 or 4 months. Okay, that's fine, but they need it to where they can renew it each time. Okay. Questions about that? Okay. On the flow vent, some of you did not get the dose right, or the strength of the inhaler right. So go back and look at that quick, quick summary of asthma, and do that. Okay. The spacer. This is where some of you got kind of long. All you need to do is just put down, don't do use as directed because insurance has kicked those back sometimes. So just put use, to be used to administer flow vent each time. Questions about that? It's kind of an oddball. Cromwell. Another place where you're still either, I don't know if it's that you just are still struggling with the concept of a new and a renewal, look at what the order says. Some of you wrote it for as a new prescription. It's a renewal, so they can get a year's worth of refills. The insurance may or may not pay for 3 months worth, so you can put down 6 cartons or you can put down 2 cartons with 11 refills, whichever. Questions about that, about those? Okay. The other is instructions. Here some of you got very wordy. If you are writing more than a couple of lines, you need to think, I've got to shorten this. Okay. Or some things you can put in as directions to the pharmacist to tell. Now they will often tell, but you can always do specifics if you feel that's needed. So you need to add that. It's pretty much what the instructions I gave you. Add the contents to the nebulizer and administer 4 times a day. Questions on that one? The Nicoderm patch threw a lot of folks. This one's hard because it packages as 15 days, or as 2 weeks. So if insurance will do it, I would give them all of it at one time. Because if you don't, if you give it a 2-week and put 2 refills on it, what happens is they have to pay a copay every time. Okay. So if you can get away with all of it at one time, do that. So there were multiple ways to do that, but that was one that people had difficulty with. Another is brevity here. So apply 1 patch to non-hairy areas, you could say, or skin daily for smoking cessation. Okay. Questions about that? I know it's a while since you've looked at it.
I actually wrote that, and you crossed out the entire 2 non-hairy area of body each day. So do you not want to?
Because you had more than what I just said.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, you really, so the pharmacist should tell them that. They also get a package insert that shows them. So, for the most part, I would just say apply to skin. Apply. And I don't even know if I put skin. Apply daily for smoking cessation. Chantix. There really weren't, most of you did find any questions on the Chantix. Some of it just came to how much you were writing at it. Number 7, a lot of you will see where I asked you to go back and put the dose on the original. The other is whenever you do a volume in a kid's thing, or even with an adult, put the amount in parentheses. So 7 mLs. So what you want to convey to the person. Now this is more like an order. You probably won't write a prescription like this, but it was there for experience. So you are going to put, what volume are they going to give to the child or the patient? 7 mLs. In parentheses, you're putting the amount or the strength. Okay? Yes?
You have dose right next to my weight and a little blank. What, do you want me to put 7 mils again on there? Or
No, I want you to put remember we talked about in peds, weight, the dose per weight, units per kilo, milligrams per kilo. Did you put that in, I just overlooked it? Think of it. What is it, 0.6 milligrams per kilo?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. On peds, remember we talked about doing that?
She's talking about this one.
Yes? Okay.
Okay.
All right, any questions on the poem? Yes, okay.
Why do you not have to say how many bottles?
How much is this one?
Because it's a one-time dose. It's just, that's it. No, it doesn't come that way, it's just a one-time. This is mostly, you're gonna give this in the ER. You won't give it.
That's right.
That's why I said it's like a 4 instead of a 4. Okay, you have a lot of problems with the cardiology
Oh,
one.
it's BAD.
Okay, nitroglycerin. So use appropriate abbreviations when you can. So instead of under the tongue, put sublingual. And PRN, so this isn't something that, so you want to indicate that it's an as needed. So place 1, tab, SL, PRN, chest pain. Then you can put up the may repeat up to every 5 minutes times 3. Here the quantity is 100, but it's another one where you would look at it as a, was this a new, this was a renewal. Here it depends on how, well you hope they're not going through 100 a month. So you can look at it as a 3-month if they're supply. If you're going to do something where you think it's monthly, I would use those little 25s, but you weren't given that option. So a 3 refill was fine, 11 was fine, I took either one of them. Questions on that one?
Again, how do you know on the refills? Is that based on how many they take, or is there some hard set rules for that?
On this one, I would go with it. If they are having to use that many in 3 months,
Yeah.
then they need an adjustment in other medicines. They need a step placement. You need to figure out, are they still good?
Yeah.
Are they storing them incorrectly? Are they using them inappropriately? Are they swallowing them instead of putting them under their tongue?
Is there like a, how do you know, I don't know. I've had a lot of trouble with dosing on this one. It's just kind of knowing like, yeah, I should probably change it, but I know my law says I can write this many. It was really hard. I was sometimes
If you wrote
guessing.
100 and put 11 refills, I wouldn't argue with you. Because the patient, if they don't need them, they're not going to go in for the refill.
Mhm.
So that would have been easy, that would have been a no problem. So 3 month would be probably more what I would expect 100 tablets to get them. So some of that comes with experience.
You're right. And
Some of it, think through, just think, okay, I got a patient who's got chest pain. What am I expecting them to do? So some you all need to now start bringing in clinically what you know. So make a reasonable choice. Does that help? Okay, number 2, let's see. Any questions on that, on the clopidogrel? Any questions on number 3? Again, if you're going to write the number 1, then put 1 in parentheses. If you're just going to write 1, then just leave it at that. Okay, yes.
I have just a generic refill question
Okay,
overall. So I think I'm getting confused on a non-controlled new prescription, are we giving them in total a 90-day supply or 60?
I wouldn't do that. Remember, Dr. McNeil gave you a really good example in class the other day when he talked
Yeah.
about that. So I would, personally, I would always give them 30-day to refill, figure out if they can tolerate it.
To, make it 90, that's where I'm getting confused, I think in my head, if it's like 3 months total, but
It's-
they're not picking it all at
It's
once.
3 months total, because what they're expecting, I think the writers of your rules are expecting, is you're gonna see that person back, because it's a new
Okay,
start.
okay. So, yeah.
So the dispense for that would be 90, then would it still be 3 refills?
I would still say give them 30 days worth to refills.
Okay, okay, thank you.
If you give them 3 months all at once and they can't tolerate it, you've wasted their money and pills then now that have to be destroyed or now just are around. So I would go to 30-day to refills. Okay. Any questions about Garden Road? Anybody have things on their own road? Okay, what about number 4, HCTZ? Okay, one thing I would do is, for blood pressure, I would just put BPs. The only thing about putting to lower blood pressure is that I worry that in some patients, they may think, my blood pressure's good today, I don't need to take it. Okay. So mostly what you're trying to do is if people have a handful of prescriptions, you're trying to help them remember what is for what. Okay. So BP, the pharmacist will interpret that for you. You could put QAM. Once daily, most of you didn't use that. Daily is fine. Keep your word content numbers down. Try to say the most with the fewest, try to say the most with the fewest words possible. Dyslipidemia, anything on the atorvastatin? Some of you are forgetting your routes of administration, so remember to communicate that. Warfarin, most everybody has trouble with the warfarin. Okay, so in warfarin, if you are using different amounts or strengths on different days, what you're going to do, or tradition is, that the days that are the most, so here the 4 milligrams was the majority of the week, right? Then that becomes the daily. 1 tablet daily, that's the strength you gave, 4 milligrams, so 1 tablet daily. Except, and then half a tablet on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I'll tell you personally, on warfarin, I always call it in and I always talk to a live being. Okay. I rarely ever communicate it over, unless it's just 5 milligrams every day. But the more complicated it is, I always call, and I have the person repeat it back to me, because I've had too many errors, so. And in our clinic, what we did is we always gave patients what they call the pink sheet. We always gave them an instruction sheet every time we saw them and said, this is what you go by. Just in case there wasn't a, they didn't need a change in dose, so they go to the pharmacy and they've got a bottle with different prescription instructions at home. Questions on that one? Quantity. So how do you figure the quantity? Here, you're going to have to be specific. You don't want to give an overage. One would be overdose, the other is that insurance might give you, unless you go to Walmart and pay a $4. So it's 4 milligrams, so it was 1 tablet 4 times a week, right? And the other was a half times 3. Okay, so it was 1.5. So every week they need 5.5 tablets, right? So in 4 weeks, which most of you did, you have 22 tablets, right? Okay, so that isn't a 30-day supply. You could do that, but that then costs more refills, because then it's gonna be, it'll be more refills than you probably put down there. It'll be 13. So what I would do is look at, okay, on that another day and a half, what will I have to do? I'll probably do one more of these and another one of those. So I would make it 24. So you put 25, okay, I probably worked it out for 24 just to draw your attention to it. Everybody see that? Okay. On Xarelto, so I think everybody got the strength right. So this was one, is if you put AFib, you got a note from me, right? Because yes, we're using it in a person who has AFib, but what's the indication? Clots. You don't have to put blood clots, that's another place where you can just save words, clot. Pardon?
You don't have to put like prevention or anything, just for clots?
You could communicate that. Question on the Bidil. We haven't done a lot of TAD, so some of you got tripped up on how much. So how many is that for a 30-day supply? Okay. So then it was a new prescription. So it would be 90 for the 1 month supply, 2 refills, right? Okay, the isosorbate dinitrate, a lot of you struggled with how to get that communicated to the, on the prescription of how to take that. So how do they need to take it? 8 a.m., 2 p.m., 8 a.m., 3 p.m., doesn't matter to me which one you chose. So that's what you're going to say. Take 1 tablet at 8 a.m., 2 p.m. daily for chest pain, to prevent chest pain.
What if they don't get up at 8 a.m.?
You can do that with them. For right now, just do it this way. You can negotiate that with the patient when you're talking to them and you write. If you write midnight and 8 a.m. and they're night workers, okay, that's what should be communicated. Yeah, right.
Did it not say 8 hours apart? On there anywhere?
Yeah, it's okay. You need at least, how long of a duration of nitrate-free do you need?
I don't know. I thought I'd read 8 hours and I looked at this.
You could put 8 and 4 if you want. You could do that.
Okay, but you
I
guys-
think in my handout I put 8 and 2.
Yeah, and I wanted to use it, but it was like, wait a second, that's not.
That's pretty traditional. It's 8 a.m., 2 p.m.
Okay.
You could do 8 and 4 if you wanted. You need at least a 12 to 14 hour nitrate-free interval.
So specify exact times.
I would on
Not-
that
you
one.
can't say
On
8
that
hours
one, I
apart.
would do that.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions on spironolactone? Okay. Overall, very good. Most of you have minor corrections to make, or you just need practice in rewriting those things. Okay, so your GI ones are due next Tuesday, along with these rewrites. Okay? And there's extra copies up here in case you. Yeah.